We had our Douglas County Citizenry January launch on the first day of the state legislature. To find out what comes ahead and what we can do to support those who fight so hard to represent common sense values, we had a great panel with Senator Lisa Frizell, Senator John Carson, and Representative Anthony Hartsook. We alluded to what's going on down under the dome, and there's even a difference that we can make there, believe it or not. Today was the first day of the session. I think we all prayed that there was a time warp and all 119 remaining days happened overnight, so no more damage can be done. But let's invite up some of our elected officials. Anthony Hartsook will be here shortly, but let's have Senator John Carson come up. Let's have Senator Lisa Frizell come up, and then we will talk about what's heading our way and what we can do about it. Let's give them a big applause when they come up. Okay, so well, let's just jump right into it. Lisa, let's hear from you. You have been standing strong. I've seen you in the halls and all you're doing. You guys are too friendly over here. Okay, so here's how I want to set it up. There was a Colorado Politics article that came out today that said, because of the division and vitriol and toxic environment last year, there is an attempt to make things better. We'll see how that happens. I do want to give both Lisa and John a moment to share some of the challenges, because we need to understand that we need to support these people. I mean, whether you agree with somebody on every single issue, I would not agree with myself 100% of the time if I was an identical twin, okay? But when we look at the people that are putting up with so much under the dome, standing up against true democratic socialists who actually want to undermine the very constitution of our country, we should do nothing but pray for these folks, support them, encourage them, and just so we get a little bit of that, share whatever you want to about last year.
I don't know where to start. I don't know where to start. First of all, thanks for having us here tonight. It's really great to see so many familiar faces, and just great to be back in Castle Rock after spending the day under the Golden Dome with crazy people. Not to be mean or anything, but it's pretty weird. It's a weird place. Okay, so this happened today, and I'm not sure if Anthony's going to make it because he is literally stuck on I-25. So, oh, is he? Okay, you saw his hat? All right, good. So I'm going to let him tell the story about what happened in the House today because it's just beyond weird. We had a very quiet, somewhat civilized beginning to the session today in the Senate, and then we all went on our way. And so I can't complain about anything that happened in the Senate today. But just to give you a flavor, this happened in the special session in August. So we have this very contentious artificial intelligence bill that was passed in 2024. Does anybody heard about this? It's terrible. This bill is so bad for businesses. It's bad for school districts. It's bad. It's bad on bad. And basically the governor, who likes to let's make a deal, made a deal, and he signed this bill into law, even though he really shouldn't have. And I think that even the governor regrets some of his life choices sometimes. This is one of them. He really regrets that he ever signed this bill. The direction was Robert Rodriguez, who's the Senate Majority Leader, he was supposed to fix it last session in 2025. He was supposed to fix the artificial intelligence bill, and he did not. Went right down to the last day. He didn't do it. He pulled the bill. And so we ended up, this thing was supposed to be implemented about right now. And this was going to it's already actually put our business community in a world of turmoil. We have businesses, I spent some time with the CEO of Ibotta earlier last week, and he said there are tech companies literally saying bye-bye to Colorado because of the uncertain business environment, especially around AI. So this happened in the special session. Part of the call that the governor made was we were supposed to fix the AI bill. And we were there for 6 days, not because anybody was really working on the budget issue. We were there because Robert Rodriguez was stonewalling his stupid AI bill. And that's why it dragged out. His whole caucus was furious with him by the time it was all over. He was so determined to get this thing onto the floor because he knew he wasn't going to be able to get it out of Senate Appropriations because the chair was going to kill it. And the chair, who's a Democrat, was going to kill the majority leader's bill, that he took two of the members. First of all, he took a Republican off the the Senate Appropriations Committee, literally changed the composition of the committee so he could get his personal little project through that committee. This is the kind of antics that we see on a daily basis in the Capitol. It's astounding to me.
John, you were newly elected, and so you had a brand new experience down there. Tell us, first of all, and then we're going to get to what's coming ahead, but what was your experience like as a newcomer to the Capitol building?
Well, thank you, Deb. Well, first I want to thank you all for what you're doing here. I think to me this group represents a strong effort to restore civility to our dialogue in this country because we're not getting anywhere by just screaming at each other. So thank you for being a part of this. And I do have good news. Today was day one of the legislature and we did no damage. Now, I think I'll be able to say that through the Martin Luther King Day on Monday because we have that day off, and I don't think we'll have much damage from the governor speaking tomorrow. He's gonna make a lot of noise about all of his wonderful initiatives and what he wants to do in his last year. But I think it'll be pretty quiet. But basically, starting on January 20th, things are going to change pretty dramatically. I do want to mention, there was some mention when Linda got up here and talked about the 250th anniversary. This is the 150th anniversary, as you all know, of Colorado. So we are going to have a lot of parallel celebrations and initiatives and a lot of things going on this year here through the summer, celebrating the 150th anniversary of our great state of Colorado. And I was pleased when Linda got up here and talked about Thomas Paine. And Thomas Paine's pamphlet was Common Sense. And that's really our theme this year. And I think we need to take that theme because our job as Republicans is to fight to restore common sense to this state. Common sense at the legislature. We got a tough fight ahead of us. I think 2026 is an absolutely critical year for the future of our state. And again, to quote Thomas Paine, this is not a time for summer soldiers or sunshine patriots. We need people who are ready to fight. I hear all these people say, well, I'm moving. I'm just going to move to some other red state out there. Well, I'm not leaving. I don't know about the rest of you. I love Colorado. I'm a Coloradan, and I'm here to fight and get some common sense back into this state. And I hope all of you feel the same way. We can win this fight. You get discouraged, but if we have time, I think one of the themes tonight is, how you can make a difference. I'm not going to, as a lawyer, I have a little discussion about that in the legal field, but I don't want to eat up all the time. What I want to say right now, though, is we've got to not quit. We just got to keep fighting. And I use the example of our great first president, General George Washington. You know that George Washington never won a single major battle in the Revolution? The biggest battle that we won was Saratoga up in New York, and he wasn't even there. But George Washington never gave up. He was one of the wealthiest men in America. He had no reason to do this. He gave up year after year of his life. He let the British chase him all over the northeastern part of the United States. You know, once in a while, like the Battle of Trenton, he would lead an attack around Christmas there in 1776 and ambush the Hessians, and that was a good morale boost. But there were no major victories until we got to the Battle of Yorktown six years later, and the British surrendered. But it was really they just got tired of fighting this guy and the colonialist because they still had a huge army at the time of Yorktown. They had another huge army up in New York. There was no reason for them to surrender. They were just sick of dealing with him, and so you never know what the other side is going to do. You got to keep that in mind. We got to keep fighting. We can't give up, and we got to save our state, restore common sense. And I'm proud to be up here with our great representatives from Douglas County to work on that fight and join you in that. So thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Well, Anthony got here after a crazy, this is the Senate side, this is the House side. To set the stage as we talk about going forward, what's coming and what we can do. First of all, tell us what your first day was like. I feel like Mom asking how your first day of school was. How was your first day?
Thanks, Deb, and thanks for having us. Well, Happy New Year, everybody. There was a little accident coming out of the downtown Denver, which is always the case. So today was day one, and when everybody gavels in, the House sends a team to the Senate, and we make fun of them because we call them the Sleepy Senate. The Senate sends people over to us, say that we're too rowdy, and that they're ready to do business. It's only a race to see who's ready to get going first. And so then the speeches start after all the pomp and circumstance. And in the House, obviously the Speaker, the majority, gets to go first. And their opening statement was talking about civility and how we need to bring the rhetoric down. And we're like, okay, well, this ought to be interesting. And then the next, I don't know, third or fourth sentence launched into the attacks by the fascists and the ICE, and it has to stop. And of course, the entire freaking Democrat Party is on their feet cheering, and we're just sitting here looking and going, well, there went the civility and turning down the temperature of the rhetoric. And then just attacks on law enforcement. And this proceeds through her speech. And she made the gal kind of like, she's the martyr, and just attacks law enforcement, attacks law and order. And it goes down to how it's the Republicans' fault. We've done everything wrong. And I'm like, we're not in charge. You've been in charge for a decade, but we get blamed for everything. So we're sitting here just quietly biding our time as we're just relentless on everything's our fault. We screwed it up. It's all our, just on and on and on. So finally, Minority Leader gets to get up and speak, Jarvis Caldwell. And he stands there and he goes, look, and he starts out just steady saying, we have to support law enforcement. We need law and order in the land. And then he proceeds to go through what same things we've been harping on forever. There's a reason that Colorado is now the 6th most regulated state in the nation. There's a reason we're at the bottom of the heap, the 49th for being the safest. We're at the bottom of the stack. We have more crime, whether it's property crime, retail theft, auto theft. Run down the laundry list. We're in the top 10 of everything. We're in the top 10 of human trafficking. And this is what the Democrats are proud about. This is what they're saying. Well, we don't want cops, but we want to keep doing this, so we keep getting worse when it comes to our safety. And then it kept going on, and we said, and I'm sure some of you saw Mom Donnie, the new mayor there in New York, about, hey, we're going to get rid of rugged individualism, and we're going to go to the warmth of collectivism. Well, Jarvis ended his speech of going, we stand for rugged individualism. These are our values. Listed parental rights. Thank you. And that's what we outlined. And then we did a press conference and kind of reiterate the same thing. And then we all put out these little statements. So that's what our first day was like.
All right. Very good. Very good.
Oh, you want to hear that story? So there, the because the governor's going to speak tomorrow, then the Ute tribes will speak on Friday. You actually have to have a resolution. It's a joint Senate and House resolution. So it comes over from the Senate to us, and it says, His Excellency. Now, this is the same party that rant and raves about no kings and no this, no that. And it's a formality. We're like, okay, whatever. It's been used for blah, blah, blah. Well, Representative DeGraff kind of like marches down, and Ken likes to have fun. And so then Ken starts, and you only have 10 minutes now. He can, that's all he can filibuster is 10 minutes. So he starts pontificating about the Constitution and no kings and the monarchy, and he goes on and on and on. The speaker goes, Representative DeGraff, you have 1 minute. He keeps talking, and then he's about ready to cut off. He goes, and I have this amendment. He pushes this amendment forward, which means he gets another 10 minutes. I'm like, that was pretty slick. So the amendment was to strike the line His Excellency and just put in the Honorable Governor Jared Poulos. We're like, okay. So Ken does his thing, and we're just like, oh, so the amendment's displayed. Well, then Representative Lorena Garcia, and if anybody you know who she is certainly one of the most progressive, far-left, attacks, hates police, defund, everything else. So she walks on down. I'm like, oh, here we go. It's going to hit the fan. And Garcia gets up. She stands up, and she looks at, and she had to choke on these words. She goes, I agree. And I'm like, and I blurted out, this is my inside voice, I go, hell just froze over. And of course, everybody starts laughing. You're not supposed to talk from the unless you're down in the well, but I was like, oh, that's all right, I got my statement in. It never happens that Lorena Garcia and Ken DeGraff agree on an amendment. So then we voted on it, and it passes overwhelmingly. I think there was like 9 of the people that voted no, and the speaker was one of them because they were just furious at us. I'm like, good, stick it to them. So that was our parting shot.
I love that because we actually are the no kings side of everything, aren't we? Okay, well, I want to make sure to be sensitive to everyone's time. So I want to get to this upcoming year and what we can do about it. And I want to share one of the victories that happened last year. Even though 1312, which was a horrific, awful, terrible bill pushed by Lorena Garcia and several others, it would have had a portion in it that said that Child Protective Services could come take your child away if you did not transition them. To me, that was the existential threat. It's the first time my husband and I grew up here, thought about, we can't ask our kids to raise their kids here. But that got taken out. And what I want us to go into this session remembering is the people serving right here, the victories may be what they keep out. It may not be what gets passed. It may be how it is less damaging than it was before. And that's what we do until we can get things back to common sense. And we talk to our neighbors about the things that are going on down at the Dome. So let's talk about what may be coming along and what we can do here to support you all and what you're doing.
Well, we haven't seen all the bad bills. We've heard about a whole lot, and we're going to start hearing more and more about others. So we know that there's a gun bill that was introduced today that expands the ERP, who can take your guns away because they say that you're having mental issues. So that's coming out of the Senate. Then our good friend Tom Sullivan, who has basically been involved with every bad gun bill since he was first elected, is absolutely sponsoring this one. We have a whole bunch of laws coming. So we'll hear the governor say tomorrow he's going to be beating his breast over how affordable or how Colorado is not affordable, and we need to make housing more affordable. The Democrats have been saying the same dadgum thing for the last 6 to 8 years, and they refuse to look in the mirror and understand that it's their policies that have created this situation, including some of the housing unaffordability. When you pile on all the regulations that they have on the housing industry, it does not help matters. If you continue to support a trial lawyers association, my apologies to any trial lawyers out here, but the Trial Lawyers Association is one of the groups that's running our state, and they refuse to allow condominiums to be built in the state of Colorado. We have no middle housing market. So The governor's going to get up there and say, we're going to make housing more affordable in the state of Colorado. Well, you know how they're going to do that and how they've been doing it over the last few years is they've been eliminating local control because they have it in their mind, I don't know why, that if the state is in charge of land use, those bad counties and those bad municipalities who are really stifling growth are going to get out of the way. That's the mindset, and we're going to see more bills around that this session. One that was introduced today, I believe, is the lot splitting bill, which basically will make it state law that you can, regardless of infrastructure availability, you can sell part of your lot. You can split your lot in half. You can sell your backyard to somebody who's going to build a little cabin or little, I don't know, whatever they can fit there, and that's going to solve our affordability problem. That's not the problem. The problem is the Democrats have tacked on anywhere from $40,000 to $100,000 of regulations to every single home that is built in the state of Colorado. That's the problem, not the fact that you have a big backyard. Anyway, so that's another thing that's coming. There is a bill that's going to be coming out of the House, I believe, that is going to attempt to overhaul our property tax system. This is coming from two legislators, one in the House, one in the Senate, who are both termed out, and so this is their swan song. Neither one of them know a crack about property tax. I know this because I know both of them, and they're idiots. So no, they should. So their big plan is to implement what's called land value taxation. If you look it up, land value taxation is a progressive tax. So you know the Democrats are big on progressive taxes, right? Yeah. So this is going to be a big fight, actually, because I think that the governor is kind of interested in this. Those are some. I'm going to let John and Anthony talk because I don't, there's going to be, it's going to be a target-rich environment for bad policy.
Well, in terms of what we can do, we've got to, for the next 9 months, we've got to stop all of these distractions and other things going on and focus on the objective. And the objective is we need 3 more Republicans in the Senate, a net increase of 3 more in the Senate, and we need an increase of at least 3 more in the House. That's what we got to focus on. Nothing is going to change in this state direction-wise unless we get more bodies down there at the legislature. That doesn't give us a majority, but it gets us into the arena of being serious players. And I will mention, since this is a nonpartisan group, the encouraging thing to me is the Democrats are very divided right now. There's a clear line developing in the legislature between what I would call more centrist, reasonable Democrats that work with the business. They want to work with the business community. They realize we've overregulated. They realize what they've done to this state in terms of it not being attractive to business or the people to live here anymore, and the affordability issue. And so they formed a caucus, Main Street Caucus, Opportunity Caucus. So the Opportunity Caucus really, I think, is trying to combat the extreme far left of the party. And we can work with them. I mean, we have to work with them, quite frankly, if we're going to stop some of this really bad stuff going on. So, the goal here is to get our numbers up in 2026. This is a critical year. And work with the Democrats that are reasonable this year to prevent the really bad stuff from coming through and really get our messaging. I'm encouraged. Chad, can you stand up, Chad? Chad is the new communication director for our Senate Republicans, and he this guy knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. He's been working with sports personalities, the Broncos, and other people over the years. Yeah, And so I think we're going to be able to step up our messaging this year. We have not done a good job on that front, in my opinion. The Republicans in this state have got to get a better message out about what we're all about with affordability and helping small businesses and families and making this state competitive again. So I commit to you that we as Senate Republicans, and I'm sure the House Republicans feel the same way, we're going to do a better job of messaging why the last 10 years in this state have been bad for Colorado and why it's time for a change.
So it's interesting, and to follow up on what John and Lisa were talking about. So Lisa's last night was the pre-session big kickoff, and it was a joint Senate and House event with all of the businesses and lobby corps and everybody that's up there. So Lisa is the Senate Assistant Minority Leader, and I'm the House Caucus Chair. We coordinate. Last year on the House side, we flipped 3 seats. We're looking at targeting 3 to 5 seats this year. And so what John's point is that it closes the difference on, especially in the committees, of what we can do. It talks about what the Senate achieves. Well, the Senate's half the size of the House. The House is where we make fun because we fight over in the House and we get the bad pieces out of the bills and make them less bad. It doesn't mean they become a good bill, but you take out very egregious things. And then when it gets over in the Senate, then they have a viable shot in some of those committees of actually killing them. What is very unique about this year, and I want to elaborate John's point, is the opportunity to caucus in the House versus the progressive caucus in the House is a very sharp division. I mean, it was glaringly apparent today in the simple vote that we did, which normally that's like a no big deal. But the confrontation, they're actually suing each other right now. The progressives are suing the opportunity because they hate them. And the progressives want to drive it off the cliff. They're actually communists. They're all about the socialism and the government taking everything, wage control, price control, rate control, all of that. We expect to see a lot of that hitting the forefront because right now all these lights are powered by energy. The governor wants to shove his goals up from 2050 to 2040. There's a lot of things they want to go to be renewable. And granted, it's a very mild winter so far. I think Mother Nature's going to throw us a curveball. But this is Colorado. When we hit these sub-zero temperatures in January and February, and all you have is wind and solar, people are going to have no heat, no power, and people will die. And when that happens, we all point to Democrats and go, you did this. You did this for 10 years. You've shut down energy. The other thing that it does is without the increase in energy, we don't have an increase in jobs because energy drives everything. If you don't have energy, you don't have an economy. You don't have growth. Energy creates jobs. We need energy. And instead of unleashing the energy in Colorado, where we have geothermal, we have coal, we have natural gas, we have fracking, we have all kinds of things. No, they don't want to do that. So that's what we're working on, is to unleash that energy and then bring the standard of living up for everybody and the income up. You would think the Democrats would like that idea because they can go have more money to spend on their stupid little pet projects, but that's a different story. But energy is going to be that big fight because that will drive the train on everything. Without energy, you don't have an economy. It's just that simple.
Okay, well, what I love hearing, by the way, and I remember being down at some of the events under the dome, and I would hear some of the more common sense Democrats, they do exist, they were actually bemoaning the fact that there's too many Democrats under the dome. And I think we are going to see a split, and then that is where there is opportunity. But John, I want to add what you were saying. If you think about it, 3 more Republicans in the Senate, 3 more Republicans in the House will begin to bring us back to balance and common sense. And that's not hard to do. And what I want to say is there's an election this year. Another reason to get involved in your caucus system. John, his seat is up this year. He was appointed because of a vacancy. And you're always running in the House. They're always running. So get involved, get engaged. It does not take that much. And when we talk about common sense, the Democrats have to own. I know we're nonpartisan, but the reality is they have been in complete control for 10 years and have driven Colorado down. I'm with John. I'm not leaving. And by the way, if in our country we all flee to red states, what will happen? It will be game over nationally. We will have suddenly how many senators? 2 from each state? Well, maybe we'll have 10, 20. Then it's done. We have to put our flag in the ground and fight. And why I share those numbers up front is we can do it. The reason why we're a majority independent is because they choose to be independent, and they're more upset at the Democrats than they are at the Republicans. Now is the time to back everyone. Did you want to say anything? Any last word? No, this is not a sentence, a death sentence, not your last word, but just for tonight.
Okay, good. I get to go back to the Capitol again tomorrow.
Yay!
Yay! Woo! No, this is something as the assistant minority leader I have been working on since the beginning of summer. And so one of the things, and maybe some of you have heard me say this, is we did a poll. The Senate Republican Caucus did a poll at the beginning of 2025, and we got the poll results. And this is what it said in a nutshell: is this is a poll of unaffiliated voters. Unaffiliated voters really like Republican fiscal policy, really like it, really think it's important. They just don't like us. They think we're mean. And so one of my goals, and I've had this conversation with Chad, because my goal is to make us relevant to unaffiliated voters, to make them understand that we are their neighbors, we are their friends, we are people who contribute to society. We're not sitting in a cave trying to figure out how to roast, small children and puppies and kitties. I mean, we are good people, and that we do good things in our communities. And so Chad has been amazing. Chad is from Parker, by the way, so he's amazing. And so that's goal number one. That's goal number one, is to change the hearts of unaffiliated voters. This is not an easy ship to turn, so I'm not going to say it is. It's not an easy ship to turn, but we've already been working on it, and by changing our messaging and improving how we interact with media, we have a multi-pronged approach associated with this. My goal is also we're running complementary messaging. We can't mess with campaigns. We can't. That's not okay. It's not kosher. But we can run complementary messaging so that our candidates look great. So that's part of my big evil plan as a mean Republican. But we have amazing candidates. We have amazing opportunities in 2026. We can do this. We can flip seats, and I'm counting on us doing it. I'm counting on your help, because we really this election is so important. We say that every year, and we haven't been doing great. This is where the rubber meets the road, folks. This is no joke. 2026, we have got to change the direction of this state, because it's not good the way it is. So thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you. Let's thank all of them. And we're at 8 o'clock, so maybe we take two questions or comments.
Mine's really easy. Bob Marshall, which caucus did he join?
So they don't tell us, but I will tell you, last Thursday and Friday we had two legislative update breakfasts, and he kept talking about he is aligning further and further left with Zokai and Garcia. So we are on the assumption he is going further to the progressive, which is just great for our candidates running against him. Yes.
So, and we do have some great candidates running. We are not an organization where we just have candidate conversations over and over again, but we are going to let you hear from some people that you can support. Here is the overall thing. It's 2026, 250th anniversary of our country, already has surpassed any other nation that has been built upon this principle. And it was the once in all of human history idea that every person has intrinsic value, therefore individual liberty, and government has one job: protect our rights and our safety, and that is it. It is up to us whether or not that continues. Colorado, 150 years ago, was founded on rugged individualism, people who wanted to go someplace to live free and live how they choose. We have the message, We have the policies. We have everything we need. Now what we have to do is be 24/7 citizens and start talking to our neighbors because they know we're heading the wrong direction. And there's only one party that has been in control for the last 10 years. We can do it. And I think about this, if not us, then who? If not now, then when? Now is the time. And I think my wonderful husband wants to say something. So thank you.
Yes, for those of you that do know 20 people or more, like Erin was talking about, there are 6 petitions here, packets, that if you want to take out to your communities, you can go out and meet your neighbor.
Oh, and one other thing, if you want to just have like a rah session, one of the most beautiful places in our state, Leadership Program in the Rockies is having its retreat February 20th and 21st down at the Broadmoor. You can suffer for liberty in the Broadmoor. Jonathan Turley, Will Kane, and Representative Kamek is going to be here. She's from Colorado originally, now in Florida. We invite you to join, but please come back next month. Invite more people. We're going to have kind of a law and order session. We're going to have both our sheriff and our attorney general, and we're going to talk about what's going on, and that involves all kinds of things. District attorney, not our attorney general. Who invited Phil Weiser? No, thank you, thank you. It's obviously getting late. Our attorney, our district attorney, thank you. So please invite others. Please be engaged and consider running for your precinct because we need a party that reflects the goodwill of everyone in this room. So thank you. God bless you. We're so glad you're here.